Okay, it was just a basic problem. Obviously, the first-person camera wasn't enabled, so you just have to tick this little tick box. I don't need the main camera there to get the delete that. Open this. You don't need two cameras. Back. Okay, now we're going to maximize on play. Try it again. There we are. A spooky dungeon. It's far too dark. So cool. It's very cool. So now let's raise up. Let's find the material. We're going to click somewhere, anywhere, Atlas base. There we go. Albedo. It's all very cool, but we need a slight emission. We're going to do a little emission. Don't need a texture. We just need right. So we're here, and now we have to decide what kind of colour we want. But I suppose this will do. Let's see. We just need a little. Yeah, I don't like that very much. That'll be the yellow. What's happening? Something's not looking great. Slight amount of light. I don't know. It's flooding. Doesn't look right, does it? It's not reflecting properly. We can have a little bit. We can lighten it up a bit. Try that. See how that looks. No, don't like that. I think I got around this using a different renderer last time, rather than the built-in one. That's right. Yeah. So legacy shaders. That's what I did. Legacy shaders. Self-illuminating. Diffuse. There we go. Boom. So now we need to tone it right down. So then we go there. Just that's go. We don't want it dark. We don't want it too light. Don't really want it red. Make it yellow. Something like that. Okay. Now we hit play. And we've got more lights. Let there be lights. Spacebar to jump. WASD to move around. And we need to do similar sort of thing for the barrels. So legacy shaders, self-illuminated. Self-illumination is just so cool. Now the next thing is to add mist, and we've got aura to add if we want to, and I've got a new fog to play around with. It's all about the fog, guys. It's all about the fog. So the built-in Unity fog is not acceptable. So we've got to figure out other ways. We can also get a little bit of clipping there, so we've got to be careful about that on doors and things. There's a little bit of clipping around the place. But hopefully that's got you up and going. On this journey. So we've got to add the footsteps, but to do that, okay, well we could do that, couldn't we? So really, it's this Atlas base that we need. So we go to our first-person footsteps database. We bring up register textures, surfaces, Metal, not metal, concrete. We do footstep. That's fine. Don't care about that. We do need to change the. We make a new one called 6. So size 6. We go. We call this concrete. So choose the concrete and choose the texture, and it's Atlas base. Atlas base 1. There we go. Now hopefully that should mean we get, yeah, so that's how we get footsteps. And that's, like I say, we're going to cover a lot more detail. We're going to add fog, we're going to add some background sound effects, but that's the core. So that's the core of the workflow. We've also then got to figure out how to integrate in vectors so that we can have a third person perspective. This is just using the Pavel footsteps one. It will do. And again, oh yes, I provide a nicer sound effect for the this sound effect's a little bit aggressive. So later on in the course, somewhere, let's have a look. A bit of emotion there. Of course, okay. We have somewhere along the lines we have sound effects. Mosse sounds that go in this section called sounds, basic stone sound set. And I'll provide some better sounding stones there for you. But we'll come back. We'll do that a bit later, I think. So we've covered a lot of ground there, quite literally. So, but just to go over it again, just as an overview for people. Right, the core of this course is how to leverage dungeon and multi-story dungeons to get up and running and creating cool dungeons. Plus Pavel footstep system, so you've got the first-person controller, so you can look around the dungeon. And then from here, we're going to generate our own dungeons, our own dungeon designs. We're going to look at integrating Dwarven Expedition and other third-party textures and assets, as well as the the 3D game kit light, if we can. We'll try and figure out how to integrate that. Integrate physics, traps, and things like that. But what we just covered here is the core, really. Import dungeon, import multi-story dungeons, import Pavel footsteps, make a prefab of Pavel footsteps so that you can use it in your game, unpack multi-story dungeons, dungeon integration, fire up, create a dungeon generator. We created 2 folders. We created Dungeons 1, which has the dungeon generator, and in that we dragged the first person dungeon flow. And then once we've created the dungeon, we drag that into prefab, which then bakes it and locks it down. We drag that back in, and then we scaled it up by a factor of 2 to 2. We dropped in the first person controller. Then we had to activate the first person controller. That was the non-activated bit on the top there. That brought that into life. We deactivated the main camera. Then we needed to light it up, and to light it up we used the Self-Illuminated Texture. So you you click something, you find Atlas 1, and then you go to Legacy Shaders, Self-Illuminated Bump Diffuse, and that gives us a bit more of an ambient light. And then next steps are going to be to add fog, more sound effects, music and eerie sounds. And yeah, I hope this has helped kind of bring it all together a bit more focus before we sprawl out into all the other things that we can do. And I will be doing more of this to try and rein it all back in again and focus on what the key aspects to get going. Okay, I hope that's of use. See you in the next one.